Her laughter was the first thing that fractured the night. It was too sharp, too rehearsed, like glass pretending to be silk. The restaurant lights dimmed, the music slowed, and everyone turned toward her. My wife. My wife of 9 years in the black dress I bought, standing under a halo of chandeliers I rented. She smiled at the crowd, a perfect performance of warmth and gratitude. And then she said his name. Before anything else, she began, her voice trembling just enough to seem human. I want to thank Ethan for being there for me through everything. You've been my rock. Applause. A sea of clapping hands and oblivious faces. Ethan, her colleague, stood near the bar, hands in pockets, pretending humility. I caught the flicker between them, a half-second too long, a private language in a public room. Then she turned to me. And to my husband, she said, almost laughing, for, well, organizing all this. Someone handed her a gift bag. She reached in and pulled out a t-shirt. White, brand new, the logo visible even from where I sat. She held it up to the crowd. One word printed in bold black letters. Divorced. Laughter. Drunken, stupid laughter. I smiled, nodded, even raised my glass. Because that's what you do when you've just been publicly erased. But inside, something went still. Not broken, not yet, just quiet. 5 minutes later, I walked out, took her gift from the car, an antique bracelet worth more than the rent on this restaurant, and left it on her seat. 5 minutes after that, my phone started buzzing. 157 missed calls, and counting. The silence in the car was the first peace I'd felt in months. The road ahead stretched into darkness, and my reflection in the windshield looked like someone else entirely, someone who'd finally stopped pretending. Her laughter kept looping in my head. That name, Ethan, the way she said it, careful, intimate. It wasn't gratitude, it was confession disguised as celebration. I should have known. The late nights at work, the phone turned face down, the shift in her scent, new perfume she never wore for me. Still, there's a difference between suspecting a storm and standing in the rain. You can tell yourself it's all coincidence, that love just changes, until it doesn't. I remembered the t-shirt again, the way she smiled as she handed it over, like she was letting the world in on a private joke. But jokes have timing, and this one came too easily. She'd wanted to humiliate me. That much was clear. But the real question was why now? Why tonight? Because endings, I've learned, aren't spontaneous. They're planned. And so, as the night swallowed the highway, I stopped replaying the laughter and started replaying the details. The next morning, I went to work as usual, smiled at people, answered emails, pretended not to notice the weight in my chest. At lunch, I called the restaurant, asked for the receipt, then the florist, then the hotel she claimed to stay in during her work trick. No reservation, no conference. I scrolled through her Instagram. Photos from last weekend, sunsets, wine glasses, reflections in sunglasses. 2 glasses, 1 reflection missing. That night I found her laptop unlocked. She must have been too drunk to remember. Her email was open, a folder named Invoices. Inside, receipts, flights, a hotel booking, 2 guests, 1 room. Ethan's name again. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wanted her to keep thinking I was broken, to underestimate me. Over the next few days, I watched her carefully. The late replies, the rehearsed guilt, the sudden affection. All of it painted with the precision of a liar who's almost convinced herself she's still innocent. I made copies of everything. Screenshots, bank statements, even the t-shirt. I folded it neatly and placed it in an envelope, a symbol of the moment she thought she'd won. When she kissed me goodbye one morning, I caught the faintest trace of whiskey on her breath. It wasn't the brand we kept at home. That was the final detail I needed. the last confirmation before the fall. The report arrived on a Thursday. Private investigator. Clean, thorough, merciless. Photos, hotel timestamps, restaurant bills. Their hands intertwined in a bar I'd taken her to once, years ago. I stared at one image for a long time. Her laughing, head thrown back, the same black dress. Ethan leaning close, whispering something just out of frame. My first thought wasn't anger, it was calculation. That night, she came home late again. I was at the table. The report laid out in front of me, pages perfectly aligned. She froze in the doorway. "What's that?" she asked, voice cracking at the edges. I didn't answer. I slid one page toward her, the hotel receipt. Another, her messages printed in neat columns. Then, finally, the photo. Her face drained of color. She tried to speak. I didn't let her. "Was it worth it?" I asked, quietly. That was all. No shouting, no accusations. Just the truth, placed gently between us like a weapon she'd left loaded. She began to cry. Said it meant nothing. Said it was a mistake. I watched her break piece by piece. And for the first time, I felt nothing. Saturday. Her birthday encore. The real party she thought I'd canceled. Everyone she'd invited was there. Friends, family, Ethan. I walked in late, holding the same gift bag she'd mocked me with. Smiles froze as I approached her. "Forgot to give you this," I said. My tone calm, polite. "Something I think you'll find familiar." I handed her the bag. She opened it. Inside, the divorced t-shirt, folded next to the investigator's report. For a moment, the entire room went silent. Ethan looked at her. She looked at me. I smiled. Then turned to the crowd. "My wife wanted to thank Ethan for being her rock," I said. She wasn't lying. Gasps, whispers, the kind of silence that burns. I didn't wait for her reaction. I simply placed my drink down, nodded once, and left. By the time I reached the car, my phone was vibrating again. Her name, over and over. I watched the city lights blur in the rearview mirror, her calls lighting up the screen like tiny, desperate flares. 157 missed calls, then 158. Each one less powerful than the last. People think revenge is loud. It isn't. It's the silence after the truth detonates. She had wanted a show, so I gave her one. Now she gets to live with the echo. And I get to drive away, finally weightless. When the phone stopped ringing, I rolled down the window and let the night in. Cold, empty, free. Some gifts, I thought, you have to return in person.